Okay, the order, it's regular city council meeting, March 9th, 2026. Roll call. Keith Warman. Present. Joe Conford. Here. Mike Nolan. Present. Joe Johnson's here. City staff, Rep. Gagnon Pellet. Present. Bill is absent tonight. Also have Chris Carson in attendance. Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We've got the agenda in front of them. You'll notice that under new business number A, that will be tabled. We don't have all our information back on that yet. Anything else anybody had on?
I would like to add under new business, discussion of setting the first budget meeting.
You add this.
Yes, the fire department approached me today and they'd like this piece of safety equipment.
E under new business. Department equipment request.
I just had one question, Jody, on the consent agenda on the liquor store report.
Okay.
What I reviewed online and what I've got laying in front of me as far as packet, so there's one document that's missing here that I had a question on. No, I take that back. It's on the fire department line. And I don't know if I can just address that now or wait till we get to.
You want to just separate that out? And we can
Yeah,
have
just
that
pull it
on-
out. It's actually on the fire department. Take that, made a mistake.
I had some questions when I went through the city income and expense accounts, which aren't, I didn't want to eat up the council time with those, so I sent an email to Brett and asked him to respond to everybody as to why we're so high percentage of the annual budget on some items.
Actually, that'd be a better venue for me too. I can just reach out to him with my question.
Yeah, I went through that with Kelly too. I didn't know if there was other questions, but
I sent them to Brett. I figured he could just fight all of us instead of eating up the meeting.
They'll email sometime in the AM tomorrow.
a lot of that was annual quirks where we have a grant and you can't put it in there. It'll be on the revenue side, but not on the budget side out. So it looks like we're at 1,700% when we're at 22%. On a couple
When you're
of,
showing a negative amount for year to date under grants, that's kind of, how does that happen?
yeah, it's a lot of it's managed. Yeah, Brett, you'll answer those then.
Yes.
Darren,
Which one did you want pulled out of here?
I don't anymore. I can just call you tomorrow or email you.
Yeah.
It's just a this is a brief question.
Okay, so skip that one. Okay. So the only thing we were amending is tabling A, adding D as setting budget meeting date. E, fire department equipment request. Anything else? Otherwise, I'd ask for a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Okay.
Same sign, motion carries 4-0. All right, well, on to public forum and correspondence. We have two people that have signed in. Adam?
Yeah.
Come on up.
All right, where do you want me to stand?
You can stand or you can have a seat at the.
Yeah, please. Yeah, I'd love to know. All right. Are you 5 minutes? Is that how this works?
Yes, you do.
All right. When do we start that 5 minutes? Has it already started?
No, go ahead.
All right. I'll fire it up.
All right, guys, I'm Adam. I live over on the lake there on the street by the lake on First Street. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it. Written this stuff down because I'm a preacher and I'll ramble if I'm not careful. First of all, I just want to say, like on the water street, the whole thing, we've talked about it. I'm opposed to it the way it sits. You guys have a letter in front of you. I bolded a couple of times in there. I think it's in front of you. Maybe they're here. Okay, so just summarize. I highlighted like the plan, the specific plan, the plan proposed. Like it's just this plan. I'm not opposed to a plan. I'm looking at your pictures on the screen. I'm not opposed to a plan. I'm just opposed to this plan the way it sits. If you've been on Balsam Street at all in the last couple of weeks, you've driven through the lake that goes into my garage. So, I get infrastructure is a problem. We've got to do something about water drainage. I'm the first guy to stand up and say that. I am a little concerned about transparency, about how things are getting out. I know you guys sent out the letter on time and appropriately, and it had all the correct stuff in it. My concern is my neighbors didn't really get it. They don't understand what it is. I live between two widows. One of them is here tonight. One of them asked me to speak on her behalf about her opposition to it as well. They just didn't get it. The Burlingames are highly educated people. They live 2 houses down. They got that letter from you. They drove around 3 different times trying to determine if it even applied to them. They didn't even think it applied to their address based on the letter they got. It felt really vague. And I think we need to be a little bit more transparent, help people out. I'm concerned about finances in this, carrying the load. Obviously, when I talked to Bernice Olenketo in her mid-90s, she said, "This is great. We're getting all this stuff new." And I said, "Did you read the letter?" And she said, "Well, yeah." And I said, "Well, what about this part where it says how we're going to pay for it?" She's like, "Oh, we're going to cover that like that." There's only 7 of us on our street, so it just felt like it wasn't really clear. I'm really concerned about my neighbors. Almost everybody on my street is fixed income except me. And I'm a baller. I'm a pastor. I make $40,000 a year. And so I'm on a family of 5, just kind of making it, doing odd jobs to make it. So money's really tight. Every year I'm paying my taxes like right before they put my name in the paper. It's like, that's where I'm at. And if it's doubles, it's going to be really bad. I'm confident that we can find different funding, more grants, maybe some bond funding or something from the legislature. If we can put something together, I'm not opposed to a plan. I think we need to pause this plan and just and do a little bit more work. And I'm not saying like you guys aren't working hard, but I feel like we could do more work to come up with a better plan than we currently have. I know you mentioned in that last meeting, I was driving down the road in my RV and I listened to you and you said, the saddest thing to me is losing all these trees. And you and I have had this conversation. I talked to a drilling company in Duluth, Minnesota, and they spend 300 days a year drilling in the state of Illinois where they're not allowed to touch trees, quarantine off the trees. They do water mains, sewer mains, all this stuff. And that was just a quick phone call that I made to Duluth. And so I know that it can be done without taking the trees out. But I don't know what that does to the pricing. Also, I didn't obviously talk to him about that. I didn't send them pictures, but told them basically what was going on. So I'm just asking us to slow down. I'm not saying like, hey guys, this is a bad idea or you guys are making bad decisions. I'm just saying I'd really like, it looked like tonight that we're resolving this. It's a resolution. I was like, oh, let's not resolve it tonight. Let's keep taking our breath. I've complained about the parking along the lake. My wife is a stay-at-home mom. She sits there, looks out the window. We watch people park there all day long. We watch in the summer with the boats and the trailers. I think doing parallel parking along there is a big mistake. I just really do. From watching it for the last 5 years, every single day. My hope is that as you guys sit in this role, I feel like your job is to make, and I could be wrong, I'm not trying to tell you how to do your job. Please don't hear that. My understanding is that your job is to make our city better and to make things better for the citizens of our town. And I don't see how this plan does either of those things personally. And that's an opinion. Obviously, we're all entitled to our own wrong opinions, right? So that's my opinion on that. And then I don't know how to say this without it sounding like an accusation, but it's not. It's an observation. I know you work over here at the concrete company. I want them to get all of the concrete work that we do, but it feels like you shouldn't vote on that because you work there. And I know that it sounds bad and it's going to sound like I'm saying like, hey, I don't trust you or somehow, you would make a bad decision. It just feels like maybe with a conflict of interest there. I would just ask respectfully that you step back from that vote and allow the other guys to make that vote. So thanks for your time. Sorry to go a little over.
No, it was. Janelle, come on up.
Same thing. Yeah, so I am definitely agree with all of what Adam said. I just had a couple other different little points that specifically, I don't think this whole project is bad. Like infrastructure and upkeep is definitely progressive, and we have to do that as a city. I'm just only talking about the Balsam Street first, that part of the whole project. You know, this clearly problems need to get fixed. So if there's any way we can do a little bit more tweaking on just that and the lake frontage. So one of my concerns is that on Balsam, and I'm only going to be referring to that street, is that the cost of the improvement. So doing a little research today, I did look on, and Adam and I, yes, we have conferred greatly. So I want to be transparent there because we're neighbors across the street. So rightfully so. And he shared the site with me, and I did print off a page from the government site that talks about the sewer, and I have a couple copies if what you want, but it says, and this has always been my concern, it says the special assessment cannot exceed the amount by which the property benefits from the improvement. The amount of property benefits from the improvement, called a special benefit, is measured by the increase in the market value of the land due to the improvement. So if the cost of the assessment on, the particular house that I own is going to be roughly 30,000, which I really would probably feel so much better about this project if we had a little bit more concrete numbers to work with, and I wouldn't be fighting it, or I'd feel better. But if that was the case and the property value or the assessment was $30,000, and then in another part that I had been looking at, it did say that it can be paid in a full payment assessment or spread out over 10 years. Is that the understanding, Mike, right? 10 years
That's
is the
typically
limit?
how it is.
Yeah, so if that's the case, then that 30,000 would be 3,000 a year, which would literally double our current roughly $3,000 taxes right now. So I'm looking at that, like, okay, that's an extra $300 a month.
There's interest at that.
Yeah, there'd be interest on that. So,
Yeah, so I'm glad that's even more. Thanks
yeah.
for that assurance.
Well, I'm not trying to reassure you.
Yeah,
So
no,
you know.
So I'm just saying, yeah, so literally in just this one home, the taxes would go from, almost 3,000 to 6,000 a year, just. And then cleaning up the lake, great, fine. However, is the cost outweigh the benefits? So in this particular case, we bring a lot of visitors into town. So I think having the short-term rentals in town are a huge benefit. I mean, like, the amount of people that come and they come to the restaurants and gas and other amenities, right, that we have. I mean, I don't even have an idea of how many thousands it brings into the city of Menahga. But so the average cost of the big house that we have is like $249 a night. At this rate, you would have to probably, add $100 at least. And off of VRBO last year, we have Airbnb and VRBO, but off of one of them, we filled 67 nights. Combined, it's roughly about a 40%, occupancy. So I don't know if we're going to be able to afford that going forward, just being transparent, and I hope we could sell the house for the value that it's worth. So my concern, I think, is the same as a lot of my neighbors. Just if we don't have to go shopping for Maseratis, but we could stay in the Toyota budget, do we have to have, yes, can we do the necessary infrastructure, but do we have to have the curbs and gutters and streetlights? And it's all pretty, it's all great, but can we wait? Like Adam said, maybe we can get special grants or funding or something that could help and just servicing the lake because of the, public amenity that it is. Maybe, like I say, pump the brakes a little bit just in that area. No. Let me think what else I have. And I do know there would have been 3 other people here that were here last weekend, but the 2 ladies had therapy and then the one gentleman got hurt. So they would have been in the same camp in that same street neighborhood as I. So. And then if there was any opportunity for any input or questions to be asked, when forget Mr. Engineer is giving his. Yeah, when he's giving his thing later on.
We went through the public hearing that last time. That was the public hearing part.
Okay.
This is all just informational now, and then what's going to bid, and
Okay,
it's the process. We're just following the process through the League of Minnesota Cities guidelines, and
okay. So
but
yeah, we'll
I'm
wait.
sure there will be some of the questions will be answered as he goes through
Sure,
this. I would hope.
sure. Okay. Yeah, I think the biggest thing I wanna leave with is the market value versus the benefit, the cost. How that's gonna affect even just a certain number of those homes that are in that area, so.
But we haven't heard about like any grants coming in or how much that might.
So
or is
on that, as we said at the public hearing, we don't know until the project is bid.
Yeah,
And then once we have that number, correct, Chris, then we get the PFA will say, this is how much we will fund for you, or grant, or loan, or.
Yeah.
That's up in the air until it's bid out. And there is full stop capabilities on this whole thing after it's bid.
Okay, that was it.
The bids have to be, we have to accept.
Yeah, we're willing to pay
But
for it.
We can't do anything without numbers. We have no clue.
Yeah.
We have estimates. We'll have solid numbers at that point.
Sorry, I know this is a public hearing. Are you guys intending to, like, once we have those bids and we have like some more firm numbers, get those numbers to the residents?
We'll have, once we have accurate,
Right, you gotta have.
Chris, what, we do another public hearing at that point, or?
That'll be the city's call. It's not required, but you could.
I think we'd appreciate it.
But we would have solid information at that point.
You could even hold the final assessment here in advance of everything.
So we'll have to, let's see how it plays out as we go. The hope always is that the bids come in lower than our estimates. We don't know.
When does that happen?
Yeah, I mean, it does once in a while, but we won't know until, if we don't put it out for bids, we have no clue.
Yeah, and then the only last concern about the grant and the project and the number of areas in town is that if the workers are spread out in all these different areas, if that's gonna slow down the process as a whole, that I would really beg to postpone this one area that it's not torn up and then exposed for weeks and weeks while waiting for this team to finish up here and then go there. Like, if that can expedite the process by minimizing the sites, would be, a relief too. So, all right, we'll wait to hear what else comes down the pipe.
Like, no,
I didn't know we got an extra 3 minutes.
that's-
that's too bad.
At the discretion of the mayor, right?
Well, he's speaking for many people now, both of you. I understand. All right, so that's public forum. Onto the consent agenda.
Move approval of the consents.
Second to that,
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
I,
Same sign. Second approved, 4-0. We didn't have any commission minutes. Have planning and zoning last month. A was tabled due to not having information, so we're on to the PLM.
Gentlemen, we're all, here, as a swimmer at the beach. Yeah, I've heard nothings and, PLM, yeah, reached out to us and, asked us if we want to get back on board for another year. And based on the feedback I heard, along with, Brian saying, they did good work. I don't see a reason why we don't pursue this again. I was talking with Councilmember Derwin over here about the Spirit Lake Association contributing again, and then potentially reaching out to the VFW.
Yeah, I did not hear anything negative about it. Everybody seemed very happy with the way it worked last year. I was down on the
Spirit
fishing.
Association gonna get back into it this year,
Yeah,
don't we?
we're actually, we're meeting Wednesday night by Zoom to discuss it, but the underlying consensus is that we're gonna try to come up with some contribution to help offset the city's costs, because the SLA is promoting Spirit Lake and they want to enhance the usability of it.
Mhm.
I think the weed control added to that, especially around the boat landing and the beach area.
It was huge.
And even,
oh, sorry.
just one last point, even we had it done at our property there, and it did a phenomenal job of suppressing the weed infiltration. So we're gonna jump on and do it again this year.
You anticipate that the association would do the same level
I
they did
think,
last year?
I can't give you a definitive, but I think the consensus, we're definitely gonna probably be in that same level again, which was about $550.
Yeah, and this will be the same areas as we did last year. As far as the city's portion, by the beach, by the fishing pier, boat landing. Yeah. And I was down on the fishing pier a couple times last year. It used to be the weeds were right at the top. And last year they were way down. You could actually see the fish, and if you caught one, you could actually pull it up. It's helpful.
Well, we have the lead or VFW post meeting tomorrow, so I'll bring it up at the post meeting.
Yeah, I mean, a majority of the people, other than the very southwest corner, who 2 feet of muck and no water there to
Yeah, you can't do
treat
much
it
over
with.
there.
Yeah,
So this is kind of a preliminary, basically.
I mean, this is the price, and I should have just put to approve the city of Menahga to contribute the full amount. That's what we did last time, and then we had the other contributors pitch in. We'll read a resolution for them accepting their donations and thanking them.
Did we, I don't recall, did we put in the budget for this,
We did, yes, in the beach. Yeah.
for the same contribution last year? I
Uh,
recall,
I think the city paid a total of approximately $13.75. And then the rest was made up by the VFW and Spirit Lake Association. But this 2510 constituting the whole thing. So all the areas, because if you'll recall, we did, I think we did 2 separate requests to PLM Lake, and this just represents the combined total.
did we budget about the same amount for this year we did last year? Do you recall?
Yes, we did.
So,
Yeah, I think it was 14 or 1500 is what we got there. So this again, when you look at our budget, this is going to be one of those things where you're going to see like 150% expended when it's actually the exact amount it's supposed to be.
So on the motion, it would be to contribute the full amount at this point,
Yes.
and then we'll,
I'll move that we allocate $2,510 for PLM treatment of Spirit Lake.
David, second motion.
for discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Both same sign. 4-0. All right, that brings up the resolution approving plans and specs and ordering advertisement for bids, so we've got to bring Chris up here on that.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council.
My gracious.
See everyone. So the plans are at point for the council to review. I know you've had reviews periodically along the route of putting these together and but we're here tonight to see if there's any further questions that need to be answered before the council decides to go out and take bids for the project.
I don't know if you could address, the venue between the Spirit Lake Lumber and Jensen Curry Sons, office complex there. Did you allow for that extra driveway to be added in?
Yeah.
Was that order put back in?
Yep, they'll have two driveways, one on the west side of the building, one on the east side of the building. That enter into the
What
property.
did that do for the parking?
The parking, we would have had about four stalls around 4 stalls in that area. But by adding another driveway opening, you basically cut it down to 1 or 2, and it wasn't worth pushing that street width out towards their building. Because they sit lower too, so that was causing some issues. So in essence, taking the parking off, putting the driveway opening in, it helps the situation. With the elevations out there in the field.
And all right down by the boat access and everything, is there any chance, I mean, it was brought up that any chance of having to do dewatering there?
No,
Or is it the elevation, is the elevation change enough there?
yeah, there is, probably a good 14 to 15 feet from lake elevation, which would be
Okay.
groundwater elevation, pretty close. Up to the surface. Most of our pipes in this area range maybe at a maximum depth of around 10-ish, 11, 12, somewhere in there, depending on where they're located, so. So yeah, there's no dewatering that will have to happen that we foresee. Groundwater elevations change.
Yeah,
But in Menahga with your stones, they stay pretty constant and don't fluctuate a whole lot. So.
okay. Yeah, no, it was brought up and then I'm like, well, next time Chris is in town,
Sure.
I'll ask just to.
Nope, shouldn't be an issue.
We had a question that was brought up. Somebody pointed out about horizontal boring, bringing city sewer and water by boring through around the roots and the trees. Is that something that would be possible or not possible?
In this case, no. The service lines going into the property are what are causing the trees to be removed. So, that service line that goes to their house is crossing right under a tree that was planted, say 30 years ago, 50 years ago. And to replace that water service line up to the property line, to install the curb stop, we, in that short distance, can't save the tree. If we bored underneath the tree, we'd still have to pothole around it, still affecting roots because of the close proximity to.
My question being, is an engineering question. You have the mains going through, you have your laterals coming off the sewer and the pipe coming off the water main. Why can't you just bump that down 10 feet and then bore off that?
Because then we'd have to go onto the property and also move their line where it comes into the house.
Your homeowner responsibility.
Yeah, you can't just put jogs in like that.
I know you can't, but you can come out and put maybe a 45 bend or maybe even a 33 bend and bring it back towards the house. Back in the day when all this sewer was put in, back when I was a kid, we put in a lot of services. And, the lateral comes up and the curb stop is there and we took off from all that. But I'm just saying, can you engineer where it goes over? Let's say you got a 50-year-old tree that's this big around, can you go down 10 feet and do that and bring it back towards the building? And if the homeowners are that concerned about their tree, they would probably bear that expense to move it so you could actually save that tree by horizontal boring or whatever.
I still know that the trees are too close to the property line and the edge of the street to accommodate that trenching, pulling the hookup. You still have to trench down to complete the hookup. Pipe to whole pipe. That's where you got a pothole right in that area.
No, I'm saying run all
Yes. contractor that is seeing what we have located in here. And that would have to happen so that happens before construction. And
Well, this is why we're talking about these prints right now.
right,
That's why I'm asking, can these prints be amended to allow that to happen? And I'm speaking on behalf of these landowners based on the tree layout and I guess when you have the trees in place now, you take that out, it's gonna change the whole dynamic of that drive going, along the lakeside.
It will, but I'm wondering, when you're doing that much excavation through that area and trying to cut around the tree, those trees still have roots that go quite a distance. And when you're cutting through those roots, what's the probability that tree's gonna live?
Well, the roots are going to be cut on the lakeside because they're going parallel to the houses.
My question is, though, when you're cutting through those roots, what's the probability that the tree will be able to survive?
depends on the tree. Depends on how much is damaged during the.
Well, and we had kind of talked about that as an option. If we saved as many as we can, don't have to physically take them out to get to a curb stop. We would not replace the tree then if it dies. If they want to save it, that would become their expense. If it did die, we would try to save it. But that's what we kind of discussed, because there was a few of them that were kind of maybe.
So there'd be a pretty good expense to the homeowner to try to save that tree, because they'd have to put in all new lines running to their house. And that's not cheap.
Right, and then we have to find a spot.
And that would be over and above.
I've
the
already said
assessment.
if they love the trees that much, would they be willing to bear that expense? And I don't know, you don't have to answer the question now, but I'm just throwing it out there.
I think, my house, it doesn't matter, because I'm putting the big land on my house, where you can go straight in. For me, I think it's more, mine is more of the lateral stuff running down the street, where you're trenching. That's how it would affect my house, but I guess I can't speak for the neighbors, but I think people probably would.
Well, at this point, you'd have to make that an alternate on the bid, because we wouldn't have it for this to go out to bid. We wouldn't have those exact locations, right?
I'd say we'd have to let the contractor know before construction that this is happening, and it has to be in place by the time they get to that spot in the utility system to make that connection, make it work.
That's for them, a lateral is a lateral.
Right, and time is of the essence when they're digging. They want to be able to make those connections quickly, do the testing, and be on their way.
Get the road put back together.
So if somebody's wanting to do this scenario and they're behind the 8 ball, maybe getting the contractor in, their own contractor in to do this private work. Now your contractor's waiting for that to happen. There could be a kerfuffle with that. So just,
I'm trying to create a big issue.
Oh, I
I'm
know.
just trying to see if there's different options here to address the tree removal.
there is. But at some point you'd still have to pick a spot within their lot line limits where you have to place the curb stop.
I understand that, right.
So depending on where trees are, you're still potholing down, put that curb stop in, put that sewer clean out in at the property line. So there's complications. We've done everything we can to visualize which trees can be kept, which trees are impacted by both the underground utility and the street work, and keep as much as we can. So it's never easy. Underground projects, it's hard to keep everything that's been growing up over the last 50 years. So.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's supposed to have been there a long time.
Yeah, and it's in city right away, and those are trees that city has control of. So
The other quick question I had, and I know we were zooming into this meeting when the public assessment hearing was taking place, so you don't catch everything in the room and you're not part of the atmosphere, but when you look at, we're talking about Boston Street now and the stuff that goes around the lake property. There's a lot of extra amenities incorporating this, meaning sidewalk, curb and gutter, and which add additional cost to the property owner as far as what they're liable for their assessment. Is there a lot of fluff in here, or is there anything we can cut out of this or not? Or
So
I know you did the walkthrough, Jody, and I appreciate all you put into it, but after hearing some of the comments from the landowners, is this a Maserati or can we do a Toyota? I think that was the comment that I heard from Janelle.
It's not a Maserati. It's pretty standard as far as infrastructure improvements go for a city. You know, we're looking at a project that we're planning to have this in place for the next 40, 50 years, even longer with the underground pipes. You know, those could last up to 100 years. But your street surface, you know, you're putting curb line in these good sandy soils in Menahga, you barely see an impact on the street structure for a good 40, 50 years. So we have to do a mill and overlay. That's about it. So, you know, with that said, we're planning pretty straightforward, basic, nothing out of the box here. With this area that you see on the screen down by the lake, you know, was the city's intention to help control the storm runoff going to the lake, thereby putting the means of, you know, curb and gutter in was the best way to handle that flow and channel it to a storm infiltration system. Now, I know that along with the sidewalk, the city's looking at picking up most of the bill for those improvements since they're new. And this is more of a, shall we call it a public area of the town? So it gets used by the public more, you know, for the residents down there to, you know, sharing the cost of some of it. Yes, but not all of it is the understanding, since it is more of a public used area in the city. So I know with the storm sewer, that was being covered by the city. I think most of or some of the curb and gutter, maybe not most, but some of the curb and gutter was, and along with the walking paths, along with the street lighting, there would be street lighting that we're looking at for along the walking path closest to the lake, all the way from the intersection of Main up the top down to the beach parking lot. So all those costs, you know, were considered 100% city costs that they were picking up the bill for in this area.
That sidewalk up on Balsam also, right?
That's right. Yep. All the sidewalks within this area, they all lead to the boat launch, the beach, to the pier, to the stage. So, you know, it's a very well used foot traffic during the summer and other times of the year, of course, but
Just to reemphasize that the curb and gutter is being put in to protect the lake. It's the reason we're doing it.
the curb is
The curb
the
to
main component.
direct the water where we need it to go.
Correct, yeah.
So it's no longer be washing out down by the pier.
Sidewalks are for safety, you know, it's better to have that separation from traveling public automobiles and have people back on sidewalks. So it's a safety issue with the amount of traffic and foot traffic you have in there.
As you can see, Balsam, when you go over there, there is that dip. And as he was mentioning, the water runs off and goes down into his garage. Putting curb and gutter there and making that more flat is gonna eliminate that problem happening too.
Yeah, take that little dip out of it, you raise it up.
It'd be
Means
great,
driveway's
though,
gonna
so
go
that-
straight.
Well, that's the problem with that.
Yeah, it's-
Go towards the lake.
That whole area there, it's downhill to everything toward the boat ramp to Balsam on both sides.
but then even right in the set, right in the, from first to main, there's that dip there and that's where all the water, it flows back towards. And it ends in your garage and your yard, so. Which,
I see you have a sump pump set up.
Oh, dude, yeah,
Yeah.
every year.
Yep.
My ice stand broke and it all came into the yard instead of staying on your stinking city streets.
Ah,
Who built that garage there? In that
I
hole?
don't fucking.
One last question, so the drive over curb on the lakeside for heck of boat traffic. Are they still gonna be able to come in there and kind of angle park, or is this all gonna be parallel along that? Can they drive up over that? Drive over curb
so it is,
sidewalk and then get off onto the grass?
they can, but I don't know if you want to allow that. Other than what we talked about for certain events like fireworks where people are, you know, you're trying to park as many people in there as you can. Well, then we talked about how they would pull over the sidewalk front tires on the grass to watch fireworks. But normally it's just gonna be parallel parking along that.
So the walking path is clear.
So the walking path is clear. Yep.
Well, that makes sense. So the sound of music events, there will be parallel parking on that side and they'll have to find alternative parking throughout the other streets that would be within walking distance, basically.
Yeah, I'd say not counting the beach parking lot, there's probably a good 50 to 60 parking stalls that are within these streets that are on the screen. Everything, Brett, if you can show everything that.
Yes, sure can.
Yeah.
And that whole sidewalk from the whole loop of the sidewalk is all ADA.
Yep.
We currently don't have on our walking path down from the beach to the pier.
On the beach,
Yeah, we have that little walking path that goes by the,
Dam.
yeah, that's not an easy place to have ADA.
Right.
You know, as we determined, the best thing for that asphalt trail that's falling apart in there is to pull it up and just have a grass walking surface, or, you know, we could look at mulch possibility for a walking surface too.
I know you guys filled that hole at least twice last year and it just keeps going. Becoming an ankle breaker.
One last question. I got more than one. This is probably the last one, but you all brought up a pretty good point when you talk about the appraised value of and the assessment to increase the value of the property. Who makes that determination? Is that certified appraiser, or is that a determination you make, or who makes that determination?
Yeah, I can't make that determination. It would have to be a certified appraiser. I've never seen it done on a project, but I would say it's a good tool. If the city does have appraisals done for what the project entails for the different areas of town, and gets those increases in market values for your knowledge. So you have that going into how you're going to set assessment rates and, you know, what the cost can be for the residents. So,
This entire area, by the way, is the old VCP too, right?
oh yeah, yeah.
And
The
that
old clay tile pipes and the old cat thing.
is like 50, 70-year-old.
That's, yeah, it was installed somewhere around late 50s to 60s.
Well, in that 70-year range.
So does county assessor, as these improvements are made, do they attach that value to the house and raise the property owner's tax? No, they
I
don't.
don't think they use that as far as their valuation for county taxes. That's a different program of valuation. So anything that you see on the, say, the GIS site, or the yearly annual increase in taxable value you get on your property, that's separate compared to market value. That's my understanding of it, and then that's all I'm gonna say about it.
Asking for the formula because they can't explain.
No,
Well, I know in the country, they assess you for your septic system, based on the life of it. There's a value put on a septic system
okay,
that's attached to the value of what you're being taxed on.
yeah.
So I'm trying to differentiate is that true with the city when they're hooked up to city sewer and water? Because there is an appraised value, or in the system, if there's an appraisal done, I think you probably know more about it than I, that if that improvement increases the value of the property, is it recognized by the county when they tax you?
We don't really know sure what the county does. However, going to back to your initial question of the assessment value, where I see it come into a bigger issue is when a buyer wants to buy your home, and it sees there's a pending assessment balance of $20,000. The buyer has the option to say the seller needs to clear that up, or the buyer will assume it. And in this case, it's going to be a tug of war, because I don't know. People say, oh, you could maybe just add that onto the value of the home. However, in this market where the value of the home is already pitching at or less than taxable market value, to say something, okay, I'm gonna raise the value 20,000 to cover the assessments, you probably might lose your sale. It's gonna become a real argument, I foresee.
Yeah, that was one of the things I had brought up last time, because in the country, you have to say the age of your septic, you have to say the age of your well and all that. And in the city, they don't do that, which is, it makes you wonder why almost, because we got 70-year-old pipes. But that's how it works.
Nice one question.
Sure.
Along that parallel parking, have you figured out, Mr. Engineer, how many trucks and trailers can fit in that space with your proposed
Oh, like boat trailers?
boat trailers? Yeah, because there's so many feet there. It'd probably be a pretty easy thing to, if it's 200 feet divided by 10, like whatever the math is, are we going to fit 5 or 8?
I would guess 15 to 20. 15.
You know, you're gonna have a mix there. Always, you're not just gonna have a boat and trailer. You're gonna have cars in there. So,
But that's what, where the boat trailers are parked.
so let's look at it this way. If we had just cars parking in there, we would have 16, room
Yeah.
for 16. If we had just boats and trailers, probably 8 to 9. Somewhere there.
Are you talking from right here?
Yeah.
Then I think that is the only available spot for boats and trailers, correct?
Well, they could park on Main Street if they had to. Where else, Ron? Balsam. Oh, on Balsam too.
Well, there's parking right here too.
Yeah. And the other north leg of Balsam, there's parking up in front of here. You have the,
It probably will be full.
yep.
Well, since I've lived in town, I think the most I've ever seen has been 3 trailers there at any given time.
Yeah, I can't say I've seen that much more than that too, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of the boats on the lake come from the homeowners on the lake.
Yeah,
There are a few fishermen.
vehicle and trailers, I think 3 at any given time is the most I've ever seen.
I've seen up to 8.
Have you?
Yeah, I live right
I've
across.
never seen that.
And it's usually in July, first part of August.
Is that on 4th of July?
Well, 4th of July, there's no parking there at all, so it's pretty packed. We actually have a lot of folks on that weekend. That's kind of the big one though, right? And the midsummer weekend is busy.
All right, so what does that bring us to times a resolution to move forward with this is what you're looking for?
Yep.
Put this out to bids,
Put it
correct?
out for bid.
Based on these plans and drawing.
So, do you want to just speak to the hard stuff on this?
So. Make sure I understand this correctly. Once we put these out for bids, then you have a date where we have to receive the bids.
Yep.
Then we will know costs for the project and actual.
We'll submit those as bid prices to the funding agency. And wait for their turnaround. Usually they're pretty quick about it, and then see what their loan grant split will be on the water system. Remember that there was no sewer funding available because the city didn't score high enough because of your sandy soils and you don't have infiltration in your system, so. But the water system component of funding also pays for street removal and replacement. It does not pay for putting in curb and gutter. It'll pay for, if you got only asphalt, you get asphalt back. If you do have curb and gutter, you have to remove it, then they would pay for curb and gutter. So,
Is that vote, it has to be a 4/5 vote, right? 4 have to approve it to move the project forward.
I
Yeah,
believe so.
I was reading up on that too, for the end of the project to actually
Right.
award bids and move forward, it has to be a 4/5 vote.
Super majority.
Then at that point, once we get the funding, so we know what PFA will give us, whether in grant or in loan, then we can have accurate assessments per property.
Right. That's a decision point for the city to sit down and you guys here at the table too, to look at how the funding affects the assessments at hand. Also what the city contribution is on the project. Bring down those assessments to point where you feel they're good and, set good by the council, so.
At that point, would we be able to pull anything out of this, say something was on the sidewalks was so much that we decided we didn't want to do that walking path?
Possibly,
Or is it gonna be kind of so baked in that it would be,
yeah, we can work with the contractor on some of that. Yeah. It's just concrete work, it's not a problem. To cut back on the pipe work, it would be more of an issue for an underground contractor.
yeah, because they're gonna pay full profit. Yeah. Wise and come here. Anything else for Chris? Anything for Ron? Good job patching that pipe.
Yeah, I was gonna say. That's,
Was the ground froze?
No. No, not in that area.
What?
They had a little bit, so the topsoil was froze, but not in that area that where it sprouted. They didn't have no problem digging.
so this is the 6-inch water main that's looking to be
6 inch,
replaced, hopefully.
Yeah,
Okay.
And that's what actually the ones up by the lake are also, is all cast iron, so they're all looking just like that
Just as
right now.
bad.
They're looking bad, so they're deteriorating. It's time.
Hmm.
So, I mean, that's why this project is on here.
To me, it's amazing that those pipes have lasted 50 to 70 years.
Yep.
And that's
Yep.
safety soil.
That's our good soil.
It's sand. It's the only reason.
Only benefit of sand.
That and no crossbar. All right, then we'll move on to the resolution. You want to read that up, Brett?
Gladly. Resolution approving plans and specifications and ordering advertisement for bids. Whereas pursuant to a resolution passed by the council February 9th, 2026, the city engineer has prepared plans and specifications for the improvement of infrastructure, including water main, sanitary sewer, storm sewer, and street items for 2nd Street Northwest from Evergreen Avenue to Cottonwood Avenue, 2nd Street Northwest from Cottonwood Avenue to Aspen Avenue, Balsam Avenue Northwest from 2nd Street Northwest to 1st Street Northwest, 2nd Street Northeast from Aspen Avenue to Cedar Avenue Northeast, Cedar Avenue Northeast from 2nd Street Northeast to Main Street East, Birch Avenue Northeast from 2nd Street Northeast to 1st Street Northeast, Balsam Avenue Southwest from Main Street West to 2nd Street Southwest, 1st Street Southwest from Main Street West to Balsam Avenue Southwest, 1st Street Southwest from Balsam Avenue Southwest to Aspen Avenue, 2nd Street Southwest from Balsam Avenue Southwest to Aspen Avenue, public beach parking area, alley between Balsam Avenue Northwest and Aspen, Main Street West to 2nd Street Northwest, alley between Aspen and Birch Avenue Northeast, Main Street East to 2nd Street Northeast, backyard sanitary sewer extension 200 feet east of Cottonwood Avenue Northwest, water main replacement on Highway 87, Fir Avenue Northwest to Juniper Avenue Northwest, and has presented such plans and specifications to the council for approval. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Menahga, Minnesota. 1, such plans and specifications, a copy of which is attached hereto and made part hereof, are hereby approved. 2, contingent upon final approval to bid from the Minnesota Public Facilities Authority, the city clerk shall prepare and cause to be inserted in the official paper and on the questcdn.com website an advertisement for bids upon the making of such improvement under such approved plans and specifications. The advertisement shall be published for a minimum of 14 days, shall specify the work to be done, and shall state the specific date that bids will be received by the clerk, dependent on PFA approval date, at which time they will be publicly opened in the council meeting room of the city hall by the city clerk and engineer, will then be tabulated and will be considered by the council at the next public meeting of the city council. Any bidder whose responsibility is questioned during consideration of the bid will be given an opportunity to address the council on the issue of responsibility. No bids will be considered unless sealed and filed with the clerk and accompanied by a bid bond payable to the clerk for 5% of the amount of such bid. Adopted by the city council this the 9th day of March 2026.
I will move approval of resolution 2026-07.
Second,
So
Keith. Any more discussion? Otherwise, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Both same sign. 4-0. Imagine I'll decide one of them for. Oh,
Those are crazy resolutions on streets. I was at the,
so next up is setting a budget, quick budget meeting date. May, I would imagine.
Yeah, we usually start in May.
Jody, real quick, just wanted to throw this out there to you guys. I'm gonna head out. Just to ask that you guys would consider a second hearing, public hearing, after all this stuff comes in. Since it's your call. So, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
May 11th will be the regular council meeting, gentlemen. So before is an option.
Fridays work better for me, Friday mornings, if that would work.
What does?
Friday mornings work better for me.
I love Friday mornings. Yeah.
Prior to the May's meeting or after May's
It'll
meeting?
be
or whenever?
the preliminary budget meeting, so it'll just be getting preliminary information mostly, so it won't be anything that will be acted on at the.
You probably won't be spraying by May 15th, will you?
May well be, it all
Yeah.
depends, but make it work whatever day. I don't have anything on my calendar right now, so.
Like May 15th or May 8th, but
May 15th.
I like May
works good.
15th.
I like May 8th better.
May 8th works. May 8th
I gotta
works.
work nights on the 15th,
Oh,
so
yeah, the 8th
I'll
would
be-
work. The 8th
I'll
would
be,
work good.
8th works fine.
Okay.
yeah,
Um,
either the 8th or the 22nd. It's just that 15th weekend is,
Well, let's do it the 8th.
yeah.
9 o'clock too early? 8 o'clock better?
It's not a national holiday, so I think we can do it that day, kind of.
That is the Clerks Academy down in Brooklyn Center.
Oh.
So you and.
Oh, so you'll be
you
down
and
there.
Kelly will both be down.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna be doing a little back and forth because I gotta get a council meeting ready.
So should we
Okay,
do
it
this
doesn't work.
Does the first work?
Yeah, the first would work.
Or are you
First
closer to the 22nd, but
First 15, 22nd.
22nd will work for me.
In a second? Okay.
And,
Want to hit it at 8 o'clock?
You guys are up for it.
or should we do 8:30 so that way Brett can get in and
I'd show up early, it's fine.
find it?
Well, everything will be ready the day prior.
Let's try it for 8 a.m. Does that work? Yeah, I don't think that'll be a super long meeting. We'll be going through the preliminaries and.
Yeah, I'll have police there. We'll have streets administration and all that encompasses. Try and get the fire department.
So usually the first meeting is kind of the.
Is the general fund hits.
Their-
Eli, you might be sitting in on that meeting.
Their want list.
Get
and then we
used
go
to
from
this.
there.
This, Terry will probably be busy pouring concrete that day.
You're not keen to this one, you can go down.
Here you go.
Oh, shit. All right. What Bill, no, I don't know that he would be able to
Oh, yeah.
make it, but worth a input. All right, so that's set. We move on to the fire department equipment request, Eli.
Thanks for putting this on here, guys. I told Brett today it was my fault. I was supposed to drop it off last week, but basically we were able to get a new set of jaws. They're battery powered, and these tips and chains that are in here, they were not part of the deal, which we gave the sales guy a hard time that we got a whole set from you and you can't put that in there. We tried the old tips off the old jaws, they don't fit. So we kind of discussed internally, things like this. We just need to bring it to your guys' attention and use that equipment fund rather than just paying for it out of our general fund. So that's why it's here. I think it's like 1,400 for the tips and something else for the chain. Now the chain, he even mentioned when I asked for the quote, he goes, it's 3/8 chain. You guys probably find it cheaper if you just buy some 3/8 chain, but that's probably what we're gonna do, but we're just presenting this as our numbers, see if it'll get approved, and then we'll get what we get. But talking with Brett today, I was just telling him, cause, or Derwin maybe it was about, what's the purpose of these things? And when we did extrication on a semi once, it was really helpful. You can hook that chain around. We hooked the one in around the fifth wheel, like the king, the plate, and we hooked the other side around the cab, and then we take our spreaders and we just pull the spreaders together, and we were able to pull that cab off of them so we can get them out. So it's something as a fire department, we said, we really should get it. So
Unless you don't want a bunch of sparks and.
Right.
Whatnot.
And that's the nice part about with the battery ones. I mean, it's,
No gas in there.
yeah, that and they're.
So fuel spills or
Yeah.
things like that.
you
Would
can
you
get
be getting both of these?
That's what we're
One or
asking
the
for.
other?
Yep, no, both of them. We need
Both.
both. But like I say, that second item is the chain, and we'd probably find it a little cheaper if we just went and got regular chain is what we'll do. But
So you're just setting more of a maximum.
this is, what we got quoted and what it would be. And then if we can find something a little cheaper, hey, that helps everybody out. So
Would move to approve either a purchaser available. You can come to the VFW meeting tomorrow night and present the VFW. meeting.
yeah. Well, we
So
can,
you need to come up here.
right. No, I know we have to show up, and that's not a problem.
All right, so Darren put the motion on the table. Can I get a second?
Mhm.
To be clear, we're setting it at 24.25 is the maximum amount at this point. Hopefully we'll have correct. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Put same sign. Go ahead, Eli.
Perfect. Thank you. Guys are need.
You can come at 7:00.
7 o'clock. See if I can make that.
Thank you.
And actually, well, no, I'll bring it up another meeting. I forgot to add it in.
All right, so that takes care of all new business. Brings us up to the department committee report, campground and building maintenance, Brian.
I wanted Brian to present a little earlier than the work session because, we've got some decisions we need to make. And, Brian's been running this to ground, so, I'm gonna turn the floor over to him.
Good evening, guys. So what I have here is what's happening with what could happen with the park for the proposal, as the pricing of late 2025 was $123,615 for the whole project.
How much? 101?
$123,659. I spoke with Gilster's Excavating in town here. He gave me two proposals or two bids. One is for the primitive sites and then another one is for the full service sites. The total cost comes to $45,400. That's just for him going in and clearing the trees and stumps and setting up the gravel and base materials for the pads and the roads. Then I spoke with J Brothers. Their bid for water and sewer came in for 26,500 for each one of the full service sites. Bergstrom's, who I went to with for electric, came in at 20,000 because he explained to me that we need to bring more power over to the area than what's available right now. So we'd come off the box by 17 and bring another line of like basically 3-phase over there in order to power all the sites so no one would have any problems with their electricity. And it has to do with having the 50 amps, the 30 amps, and the 120s. LB Excavating I spoke with for our septic system. And as you look up on the drawing up here, that's what he drew. And that should be within the disc golf lane fairway number 13 is what it should go into. That's done. And his bid was 17,980.
You'll sure didn't want to do septic.
I did not ask him about that. I asked him strictly for the clearing because when I was given his name, he was like, yeah, he could do all the stumps and the trees and everything, you know, get them out of there. And that's where I went. I haven't spoken with West Central, looked at any signage or talked to any nurseries at all about planting of the trees and grass seed or anything. And I have looked at picnic tables and fire pits. But we got a bunch of picnic tables that we acquired from the liquor store for midsummers and all that. And I know those were the old fire halls. We could repair them and make them better. And as I go on here, as with anything, it's expected these prices will go up as we move on. I've not looked outside the city for other bids because I believe that working with the local business is the best way forward for the city in its entirety by cultivating good bonds with our local citizens. If the council would like us to venture out and look for bids outside of the city, I'm willing to do that. But that'll extend our timeline a little. And as I have for a timeline, I don't believe that any of the stuff that we have labeled here will go further than 3 months. I mean, I can't imagine it would take longer than that, weather permitting. That's from start to finish. Moving on here a little bit, the proposed sites, I believe, would increase our demand for the campground, especially with the service ones up here. This is my original map. I only had that up there to show Lee's excavating where the septic systems would go. I have a revised map. If you could pull that one up, Brett.
I mean, this is I don't have the revised, is the one.
Yeah, I gave you 3 of them.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just
want
have
to change the directions.
The one that, well, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
So they don't have the blind vacuum.
right.
This side would all be this way.
Yep.
In between, so they'd be lined up right in between these, so they would be looking right at each other. They'd be
Yeah.
offset there.
And I have that one up. We have it. I guess it's just not on. That's okay.
Yeah, I just get it, and he can, Brett can send it out to us.
Absolutely, because
That'll
I
work.
did scan
Yeah.
it, so he can send it to each one.
Maybe I got them real quick.
Okay.
Technology.
Let's see here, where was I? Increase the demand of campground patrons while working, how they wish we had, well, yeah, many times I've been out there working, I've had a lot of patrons at the campground saying, we wish you had RV hookups for the sewer, and, you know, we got a dump station. Well, you know, that could be a pain for anybody who wants to come and enjoy a good week or something. You know, they gotta move their trailer a couple times, and nobody likes doing that. And with full service sites, they wouldn't have to, they may stay longer. That's even better for us. I also believe that with full service sites, more patrons will enjoy staying longer in the area to visit family, friends, or just enjoy the vast lakes and other resources that this area provides. Here's the thing though, while work with the DNR grants, it is possible this timeline of the project could be pushed to the following year of 27, as the grants will not be awarded till June 30th and not paid out until October. I talked, and if we go with that grant, we can't do anything because they have their conservation maps that they got to look at. There's historical things they have to look at. They have to find out if there's any endangered species of plants or animals in the area. And I've gone over all their maps, and the park's in the clear, but they still have to do their own research on it as well. They've got to check all that stuff.
So they would award their grant this year for us doing a project next year.
next year. Right.
What's the max that you probably,
Well, I asked for half, so just over 61 is what I asked for. We could.
What is the
Last year
max
was
of their
75.
grant that they will
Half.
do?
75
said,
is what
yeah.
it was last year was their
They
max.
don't have,
Oh, yeah,
they
yeah.
don't have half up to $1.
75,000.
75,000, I guess, would be their match. But we do have another opportunity. Sourcewell has some grants coming out. They would only cover about 30,000 of our costs. And if we were awarded that, and if Menahga wanted to match it, we could easily get all the trees done for the full service and the pads built and the primitives finished so that they could be in use. As for the full service ones, we would make anybody knows who parks there. There's no services. There's no electric. There's no water. There's no sewer. If you're parking there, you're boondocking it.
But if we were to do that and start those sites, then we would not qualify for the DNR grant.
Right.
You confirm that?
I called on Sarah on Friday morning. She's with the DNR on the grant program, and I have not heard back from her yet.
That's generally how it works. If you, on most grants, if you
Start
get
the
into a project
you
without getting the
eliminate it.
grant, you're no
Yeah,
longer.
you're eliminated.
With the Sourcewell grant, is that a matching?
No, it's just straight up.
So
It's straight 30 grand.
would, I would think 30,000 would get the primitives in.
Yes, yes, and we could start even in this area here and get that done and then just redo the DNR. Try to get something different.
If you start in this area,
Yeah, then we're,
The DNR
then,
grant will be done.
then DNR may not approve you.
They may not, and and if we start in the primitives, they may not.
if you did the primitives on their own. And just the DNR grant just for the 10 long term.
Right.
Which is where all but $7,000 of this is at.
Well, primitive is 9,500 from Gilster's. And it's because when you look at the primitives right there, the south end, that one right there, that's by itself cuts into a hill. Look nice.
The number 10 is that, I see site number 10. Is
Yep.
that by the, like the south side of the playground, right where the,
Where
starts going up the
Yep,
hill?
right there.
Okay, and that's kind of where the washing out of the road.
Exactly. And when
So that's where you wanting to put in the.
right, and when I put
Okay.
that stub road in there, I need to expand that a little bit more and then just reshape that whole area so it goes, the culvert I put in is working,
Yeah,
but I just need it to be a little bit wider.
that's where I was just, Brett was kind of trying to explain that I couldn't picture it, but now okay.
Yeah, that's where we put the little stub in last year. with
Yep.
the gravel.
So, okay, there's site number 10 there, and then it'd be
No, that's not,
down.
come down, there's like a little spot, yeah, right in there. That's the spot. And
Which where the road washes, huh?
it does wash in through there. So, yeah, the culvert I have in there, we'll extend that one about another 10 feet and put some more class 5 and build that road up a little better. And it's just a matter of shaping the road up the top of the hill to get it to drain in there. I mean, there might be a little bit of a crown leaning to the left, depending on which way you're coming from, or to the west.
I know with the adding in the permanent sites, are you hoping that also fixes the excess water still flowing in there, or?
Well, last spring.
I know you guys built it up
Yeah.
a bit.
And I was out there Friday and the water was up, but our pads were above water.
Okay,
And it was nice and dry. And I went out there today, this morning, most of that water gone.
yeah,
So,
yeah, it goes pretty quick,
you know,
but no, yeah, it's, if you can reshape 10th Street to eliminate that water flowing in.
yeah, and that's
You
what
know.
will happen too, especially like, you know, as soon as you come in and you look to the west, that's 18 and 16 are two primitives right now.
Yeah.
So a lot of that stuff's gonna be leveled out and cleaned up and everything.
Yeah,
And that's why we're gonna want to put trees in. Because we don't want to lose all of our trees, but we are gonna have a nice swath taken out of that. And it's gonna be about 125 feet wide by about 500 feet long. So I mean, but it's gonna give us about 40 feet between each site. And they require 2,000,
They're not sitting looking right at each other.
yeah,
They're angled off, and then by shaping the other ones where they're looking into the middle of the opposite side, it just gives everyone there it is. Yeah. I didn't,
in all, I figure each pad will have about 3,500 square feet of not just pad, but also area in the grass where the fire pits and the picnic tables will be.
So is this something where somebody wants to come in for a week and use a full hookup? They could.
Could come in for 3 months.
Well, yeah, I know it was the 3 months, but wondering if it's somebody that comes into the big Class A motorhome for a family reunion and they want to be here for a week. Would that be something
if,
Absolutely.
they could use
they're
too?
not all rented out
Yeah.
for 3 months or so.
Yeah,
60 feet deep, 25 feet wide. We have a 60-foot circle at the end for the cul-de-sac for them to turn around. And it'll provide extra parking for any of the disc golfers and stuff because, I mean, I noticed last year when they had that disc golf tournament, I mean, it was like there was 2 things going on in the pavilions and there was no parking. I mean, it was packed out there.
Well, yeah, we wouldn't, actually, that's something you wouldn't want them parking on that cul-de-sac if there's people trying to get in.
Right, yeah.
That would have to be kind of off limits.
Yep. And that's why I figured if we did go with the source well and the city matched that 30 grand, that would give us some ability to get all the signage we need at the same time and everything else. Any possible things that we need for the primitives.
I know, yeah.
I did read somewhere, I think it was just today, that water source needs to be within 100 feet of any site. And I know site 10 has their own water and everything. But we're more than 100 feet. If we go into the primitive in the furthest one to the west, that's probably more than 100 feet because that's 175 just from the road.
For the primitives, they have to.
Yeah. So I have to somehow possibly figure to get some water over there. Just one spigot.
Doesn't seem too primitive then, does it?
Right,
It doesn't, but
states involved.
you know,
So you have to probably get a hydrant like back to this area or something.
I was thinking about that, yeah, or in between the 2 top ones. So it's kind of like centrally based for everybody. This one spigot is all that's needed.
But that's site 9 would have water there, right?
Yep.
So you could
Could come right
draw a
off.
line
from it
right off of
possibly.
there.
That would be the best way because
It'd
we
be-
don't want to go across
Yeah.
the road because we got our culvert in there.
Yeah, be the cheapest to do that way.
It only needs to be down about 3 feet. We blow them out. So. And I think it's a quick fix. I could probably go to R&R Rental and rent a maxi sneaker and climb right in. There shouldn't be anything in there that needs to be located at all. But that's for a different thing. That's just what I'm saying about this stuff is that if we max it, then that would allow us to get some things done. You know, we could start on that project. Would it affect the DNR? Yes, it would. I'm almost positive it would. But I'll talk to Sarah hopefully tomorrow. I don't know why she didn't get back to me. She's actually been pretty good. I mean, when I call her, she calls me back the same day generally, but.
Monday.
Yep.
So we set aside 75,000 for this year to go toward this long-term deal.
So what, looking back at the historical project, when they put in all that water and sewer and the bathrooms and whatnot, if I'm not mistaken, the city funded that, but they borrowed it out of one of the city sewer or city water. I'm
I
not
think it's out of
sure.
the water fund.
Has that been paid back?
I think we have,
6,000 left on it.
yeah, there's,
It's down to 6 grand?
There was a small amount left on it.
Is this the last year then for that payment?
I have to double check. I'm pretty sure it's the last year, yeah. We have quite a few that are gonna be falling off, so.
So would we take that up? You said you budgeted for it, but would that money come out of one of those funds again to?
No, we set that aside as capital when we did our budget
Capital
last year.
improvement.
We set aside that 75 for capital improvement. My take on it is we were hoping to get that matching grant from DNR, so we'd have $150,000 pot to do this whole project. Well, now we're not gonna find out until July if they will do
Yeah,
it.
June 30th.
If we were to start on it, it'll wipe it out most likely. So to me, my personal opinion on it is hold off on the long-term sites until we know if we get that grant or not. Even if it's 50-50, we'll know. Whereas right now, if we were to put 75 into it and then they won't touch us because we already started, then we're only halfway into it, and where do we get the rest of the money? My personal take. If you're at 123, that included part of the primitives, so you're getting down to about 110 for the long term, basically.
Right.
So that would give us, say, 20,000 out of that 75 we've set aside at the most that we could put in. If they did a grant. Sourcewell was to do a grant for up to 30,000.
Yep.
That would be the maximum I would be comfortable with coming out of that 75. So that if the DNR then says, yes, we'll do it for the following year, we would still have our $55,000 capital outlay pot that they would match, which would get us, well, depending on how much prices go up.
Oh, exactly. The inflation could be 5, could be 10, it might be 15%.
Yeah, so we might want to even hold a little more than that.
I like that idea, you know, if you can leverage more grant money to offset the cost of the taxpayer. We're all paying into the state of Minnesota. We can capture some of that money, bring it back into our community. More power to us.
I mean, you hit it right on the head. It's, we're making this investment not only for the community, but to also, have it pay for itself. We're not here to lose money. And the same logic was applied for the liquor store. We expanded that because it is our bet, and it's a good bet that we're gonna get increased revenue out of it.
When would you want, like, I know that now the primitive sites, when would you're hoping to do them still this year? Whether
The primitive sites, I'd love to get done and just get it done and out of the way.
hypothetically, did they say when they could start?
Gilster?
Yeah,
I haven't,
to clear it off.
I haven't talked to really any of these guys yet because I wanted to hear from you guys first.
Okay. It'd be nice if we're wanting to do the primitive sites now, it'd be nice to have them, get them in and done before camp season opens up. If it was me renting, I wouldn't want to be in a peace and quiet and then have a piece of machinery go in there for 3 days or whatever.
I would say for Gilster, that's probably a 2-day project at the most.
Yeah. But if they can get it in even before, even now, if there's not a lot of,
Once the frost is
if
gone.
the frost isn't, if there's no frost right now, at least get in there and pop trees.
Yeah, and inside that area right there, there's maybe 3 trees that reach maybe 15 inches across. A lot of them are just small little pines and jack pine and stuff.
Yeah, Gilster's done a lot of the campsite work out at the jam, east of town there.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing when it
Yeah,
comes to
they
this.
gotta go in there. I'm with you, Joe, 2 or 3 days.
Yeah. Probably half a day for grubbing the trees out and then, yeah.
And pull that water line in. The one little spigot. I don't know, that's just my opinion. It's up to you guys.
Well, I agree. I would say let's get the primitive sites going now and then with the permanent sites.
So we need to apply for the Sourcewell grant,
Yes,
and when does that?
I can start that tomorrow.
I'll be doing it. It'll be under my account.
They're pretty quick.
I mean, we're gonna apply and they're probably gonna look at all of them and it's just gonna be a lottery again. But
When do they do that award?
I'm not sure for this one. I would venture to say probably in a couple weeks. So we will probably know, middle of April. Maybe sooner. And the way this came about is, Sourcewell had extra funding for it that, however, whatever money they made. And so, part of their remit is to reinvest it, and the target of opportunity is what it is.
So if we didn't get it, Gilster's bid on that was 9,500. So if we allowed 10,000 on our end, we could at least get that in, whether we got that grant or not. If we did get the grant, what would you use? You would use the grant money for it,
Yes, absolutely.
and then,
Couple yards of, sand at the beach too. I mean, I think, well, I want to apply for the full 30, so if we're only gonna use
And we,
10, 15, let's.
I know years ago.
Brian has his
They would always
water
bring
bottle
the
fillers
dozer and
too.
push out
like-
the beach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back in the day, we used to push it back up.
Every summer they used to
They got
push it up.
shoulder.
Yeah, they push up the beach, they go into the lake and push it all up. Is there, are we still able to do that or instead of having to buy
We have
more
a
sand?
skiddy that.
Well, I wouldn't,
take it
no,
out.
not a skinny in there.
No,
No,
oh.
for something like that,
Not
I'd
the
suggest
water,
like
but
Terry's Long Reach.
yeah,
You could
that
set
or even a
reach and they go
dozer, you know.
70 feet out.
You start reaching into the lake, DNR gets a little.
Yeah, I'm sure they would want,
We used
I
to
think-
take
I
our
thought
old
that's why we
350
stopped doing
power still tracks
I
back
thought
in
that's why
about
we
10 or 12
stopped doing
feet
it.
and bring it all back up.
And I mean, it was every summer that they did it. Even when I was going to the beach every day,
You know, if it
it
gets
was always
reported,
pushed up in the summer.
if it gets reported to DNR, you can bet we will be hearing from
What?
DNR.
No, but it's something we should look into instead of buying more sand, reclaim it out of the lake, you know, to see what would it take to be able to do that.
Call DNR and just ask them, how big is the fine if we do this?
Well, you would
ask, if you talk to the DNR, ask them if you could use a long reach and just pull it back up.
to
So they
reclaim
wouldn't have
the,
to enter the water then with the track machine or anything. They could
Yeah.
just reach in with the bucket.
With the bucket.
Yeah,
pull it back.
I would imagine as long as the hydraulics never touch the water, it'd be fine.
but I mean, it's something we should look into, you know. Cause I mean,
Yeah, we lost our source for cheap sand.
yeah,
I still got connection.
but I mean, I mean, yeah, they did it every summer and, you know, just,
So that's the consensus. Do we need a motion for that? I guess applying for the grant is kind of the first thing, but if we're gonna spend any of that capital outlay, we should have a motion for how much of that we're willing to.
Yeah, I'd be comfortable.
I would say.
so to do the primitive sites, say up to 10,000 for the primitive sites.
You
And
wanna
then-
make that motion?
Yeah, I'll make the motion to use up to 10,000 to start the primitive sites. Or to complete the primitive sites.
We'll second that.
10K to.
And as soon as they can get in, that would be the nice about it.
Yeah, once we hear back from Sourcewell, I'll get a hold of Gilsner or. Then I'll go.
Well, and I would say with the Sourcewell grant, we find out for sure, but if we spent this 10,000, can we use the grant for that? And we should be able to.
I mean, as long as we can provide them an itemized, sheet of, hey, here's what we're gonna do with that 30,000, shouldn't be a problem.
I would throw the sand in there for the beach too, just in
100%.
case.
Yeah, just throw at least a couple of
More than a couple. I think we brought in 60 or 80 yards.
last time.
That was about 4 years ago, maybe 3 years ago.
Yeah, when they do.
When this was, yeah.
And then Lacey's husband's brother.
Yeah, he's good.
Yep, you did a good job
And
too.
no charge, he didn't charge us.
Yeah, he charged for the
Just the
fuel,
gas, the
85
fuel.
$85 for the
Yeah,
fuel.
We got a track getting now. So.
Yep.
All right, so we got a motion to spend up 10K from the capital outlay fund that we set aside. Work on the primitive sites and motion and a second. Any more discussion? Otherwise, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those same sign. Go, motion carries.
And I'd still look into the DNR to see if we can get a permit to reclaim sand.
Yeah. They're gonna,
And then, one more thing is, lifeguards. We'd like to get the lifeguards back out there again. Gonna be start working on that here this week, creating ads for it and reaching out. I have already actually talked to Joseph, who was one of our lifeguards last year. He's more than willing to come back. And he's got an ear out talking to some of his friends and such like that who may want to be lifeguards. As for a swimming instructor, that's a little bit different. Piper won't be coming back. She let us know that last. But I would love to see another swim instructor out there. So I'd like
You
to
know,
put
a
an ad
good
to that.
contact, just as an idea, and a contact for you maybe could be the Red Cross instructors in Fargo where they go through and take the classes to get certified.
Okay.
How many lifeguards are you looking for this year?
I would, honestly, I'd love to see 3 and as many as 4 because we need to have them on the weekends. I don't want it to happen again last year where you get these busy weekends. We don't have anybody staff out there.
Well, last year I took my granddaughters to the beach on 4th of July and it was cram packed
Yep.
and no lifeguard on duty. Busiest day of the year and we didn't have a lifeguard. And I want to make sure the lifeguards know this year they're on that chair on the 4th of July. With
Absolutely.
as busy as that beach is.
You know, there's a few things that I want to like make sure that our lifeguards know what to do, and that's housekeeping around the whole area. If they see garbage laying there, pick it up, throw it in the garbage.
Midsummer weekend is another one.
Yep.
It's just crazy.
You wanna ask Joseph if he'd be interested in taking that class to
The
be a
swim
swim
class?
instructor?
I can. I don't know if there's an age limit on that or not, but I can ask them.
I don't think so.
But now that I got the Red Cross in Fargo, I can call them and you know, they're gonna have some good information for me, so I can bring that back to the city, so.
I know, Sabika's pool's closed this year, so might be worth it, see if we can't poach their lifeguards.
Well, that's why it's
They have
closed.
them
They
back.
couldn't find lifeguards.
Oh.
That was part of the reason I'm.
That's what, 3 years running? They
And
couldn't
also
find
the
lifeguards?
Maintenance bill.
They spent 40,000 for the summer to maintain it too.
Terrible.
I think that was the big thing.
So there's another thing we could do is do like we used to do. Bus used to come from Sabika and bring the kids to the beach, and a few hours later, the bus would take them back. That was their bus. So that might be something they wanna do now.
Yeah, let me reach out to Cheryl, maybe we'll work something out.
It was just the school bus. They just,
Yeah, if we have a lifeguard on duty, we'll definitely probably bust our kid.
And especially if we're given swimming instructions, I can see a lot of kids coming from Sabiko over for that.
that's a shout. I mean, just to see if they're interested since their pool is being shut down. Can't hurt. Anybody got anything else for Brian?
All right, guys, thank you.
Yeah. All right, Laura, you're up.
Oh, that's for last time. Oh, straight up.
Keep it short.
Yeah, everything's good. I don't think there's anything new.
It's really
Is
talking
that
to
good? Yeah, no, I mean, I really don't have much, to report. It's, haven't really had a lot new. We do probably the tax exempt. We got that email on it, for the project. And, I don't know. So we'll be having more discussion on that. I don't think we can do tax exempt, or we should do it. It takes away a lot of warranty. Could be
He's
discussion.
just not excited about
He is
doing that.
not. I mean, I really think I should reach out to the architect, right? Because Tuan was like, yeah, we do it. We break it out. So why? But then he's like, well, this city takes on this liability. And I'm like, I suppose that, I mean, we have tax exempt ability as a nursing home. But I suppose, is it because assisted living's building it? Because I don't know, our number, our Green Pine Acres Nursing Home was who our federal ID number is. And that's because it's a nursing home, there's tax exempt. It's not, so we have 2 ways that we can be tax exempt. One, because we're city owned, and the second, because a nursing home. But because it's an assisted living, I want to ask Tuan those questions that I haven't had a chance to ask yet, but
What would that give us any liability going tax exempt? I don't understand that.
the city would be liable then, it takes away the warranty, or if it comes back an issue with, some of the product, the concrete or whatever fails, then, the city has the liability to go after that or something like that. The city would go after it
Tax exemption.
because you would be claiming, because it starts the minute.
The clock starts ticking as soon as you make that purchase. You won't be, because it's not bought by the contractor, and it's not installed into place. But because it's tax exempt, then that warranty starts at that point.
So we,
So there is a warranty, but it's just not through the contractor, basically, we're
And that's,
responsible.
but there is a commissioning though, as part of the
so if we took the,
ICS.
yeah, like to that, they
They have to they have to come through and they have a crew that comes in and commissions everything, and make sure everything's running as it should. At the end, before the project is returned.
yeah. But they have to, so they would have to, I don't know if he doesn't want to do the line, this is a product, this is a contractor.
Work for them.
So they would bid it separately, and the architect said they do that a lot. They bid the labor and the construction material separately. They don't bid them together, so
Just
I
one
don't
more point for Laura. Didn't it amount to like $238,000?
a lot, yeah. I'm like, that's why I said we really can't walk away from that. That's like a big savings.
Lots of-
We're trying to get that garage. We're trying to get that garage paid for. I wanted to say that to him, like, we're gonna get that garage paid for yet. But I haven't responded. You haven't either, but I don't know. I think I'll reach out to the architect.
Yeah, reach
Pretty
out
much
to
you
them,
have to
because if
say.
she mentioned it, that they do that, I would
He was
say,
just like, yep, we do this all the time, right? That's what she said.
That's right.
Mhm. Yeah, we do this all the time, so I can ask on it and see what they say. Otherwise, that's on that. We had a, I don't remember anymore. Did we have a positive month?
We did.
50,000, I think, or something like that. So we did have a positive month. I know I should have reviewed this stuff, but,
Top of page 2, there was a positive.
I knew what the number was. It was in my head, but I just was like, I think it's on here somewhere.
Yep.
It seems so long. We used to be a week after, now it's 2 weeks, and a lot of stuff happens in that 2 weeks that I kind of forget what's going on, but we had our state survey, which I had said to you before, and then we had the federal survey following on the life safety code. I can't remember if I had told you that as well, but the federal life safety code found a patient care electrical equipment program that we needed to put in place. The state had said not cited us on it and said they were given another year, but federal said no, they actually need to be in place. So we're working on that, and that's just tracking and maintaining patient care equipment. According to manufacturer guidelines, when you put it in place, you have to look at the manufacturer testing guidelines, and then any equipment, and it has to have when it was put in place, and then annual testing for according to the guidelines. And then the staff has to actually have to sign something saying that they're certified to actually repair this, or that we go out and have repairs if it's something that has to have repairs on. So it's just something else that the federal has put in place to make sure mandating, making sure they're in a testing maintenance program. So, otherwise trying to think if anything else has gone on recently. We're interviewing for the, dietary manager position. She is retiring at the end of May, and she has been there for 38 years. So that's a big position. Yeah, that'll be a big change there. So, we received, about 7 applications, probably interviewing about 4 of them. Interviewed 1 today, 1 tomorrow, and have, I'm hoping to set up another one tomorrow. The person was not sure they could make it, so.
Still working on your windows already?
They haven't, when we added there were, ones at the end of the hallway, and the ones in the day room.
Mhm.
They did have an original quote, remember, and I went back and got it. They haven't put those in yet.
Is that the end of it then?
Yeah. But 3 of the windows are supposed to be in that room that's going to be eliminated. Well, it's just gonna be a wall there, so it doesn't pay to put those windows in.
Yeah, I'd hold until we find out if we're gonna do that project at
Yeah,
least.
so
Gonna tell them, don't do those yet.
I don't put the new ones in because I'll just be taking them out if we do the project. So. Yeah, and that meeting is a joint meeting on the 23rd. Is it the 23rd? The 23rd, we have our board meeting. So that would be to put it out for bids. And it will go out for bids on the 24th. So you just have to join us for the first part of the meeting of the board meeting. The 2 of the,
That's a March of this month.
yeah. And our meeting is at 3 o'clock. Is that possible? To have you join us? I know two already come to the meeting, but. Or do we need to change time? I mean, we can change our time if we needed to.
I don't know if I'll be able to make that one. My granddaughters are staying with me a few days and I have to drive them to school in Perham and go back and pick them up when they get out of school, so. So I'll be on the road to Perham when that meeting is held.
That's at 3, so
Yeah, 3 o'clock,
What date was this?
the 23rd.
23rd.
So it's our normal meeting and then they, had set the meeting for, they'll go through. We had a page turn. I don't think they'll go through a page turn, but basically go through the project for approval to go out for bids. But that page turn meeting was long.
I had to go.
Oh, you had to leave. Yeah, that's
I
right.
don't know if you caught my.
Yes, afterwards, yeah, it's 1 o'clock it ended, so it went from 10 to 1 was that, 9 to 10 was the other, so it took about 4 hours for the meeting. It was long. Few things
so
that
we
we
would need to have at least 3 council members present in order to move it forward.
I'll be there.
Tentatively, I put it in my calendar, so tentatively I should be there.
Plan on being there.
Well, this is your meeting, right? So give me the agenda so I can make sure it's posted and noticed. So the city council's gonna be there. I need to.
Keith, you pretty much have to make it.
I'll,
Cause I'm pretty sure Bill won't be able to make it at that time.
I'll certainly try. Might have to call me to remind me. Well, Brett does pretty good at
Who's
most.
the chief? I have to call down there to make sure you're
Yeah.
off that day.
I penciled it in, so.
All right, anybody else got anything else for Laura? You good? I want to take a motion to approve the monthly report and financial risk presented by Administrator Laura.
Second.
Thank you. I was short enough. I didn't look to see what time I started.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, up. All right, we didn't have any unfinished business. So at this time, we're gonna go into closed session pursuant to Minnesota statute 13D.03 to discuss labor negotiation strategy related to ongoing collective bargaining negotiations with Teamsters Local 346. Session is necessary to protect the city bargaining position. Going into closed at 7:43.
We are gonna go off stream. We're going to have a statement from the closed session that will also be off stream and will be in next month's minutes. Adjournment will also be, not live. Thank you everyone for attending. So we had some visitors and, we'll see you next time.